another Contra races today. I know. I love it when they do this. Man, Contra's so cool. Don't we know it? It's such a great community. I know. Totally. The best. You guys want to get a pizza? Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, all right. Lance, do you read me? Over. Aw, what's the matter, Bill? You miss me? Quit playing around. Don't attack until I get there. Repeat, do not attack until I get there. Huh, who's gonna stop me? You? Oh, shit. My gun? If I can just get it back, I might. No! Hey, guys, you think I could get a piece of that pizza? Guys?
All right. Thank you all very much for joining us for these Contra 3 races. This should definitely be very exciting. All right, I think we are just about ready. Just waiting on Yumashev here. All right, racers, if you are ready, we'll go ahead and jump in. All right, 3, 2, 1, start. All right, thank you all very much for joining us for these Contra 3 races. So the first thing that we are going to do is, this is going to be a playthrough of easy mode, and while easy mode definitely has your enemies moving a bit slower and less health, it also has the opportunity to do some really risky strats, as we're going to see in a little bit here. So starting out, the first stage you definitely want to have 2 spread. You can alternate and get a really good amount of coverage to take care of most of the enemies that are in front. The base wall here dies very quickly. So one thing you'll notice is if you duck while you're right in front of the base wall, the bombs don't hit you, which is really nice. Folk picking up the tank, which is fantastic. The tank is actually the most powerful weapon in the game. And up here, racers are going to pick up the crush weapon, which is the most powerful gun in the game, and that's what you're going to try to hang on to for the entire duration of the run. This tank boss is kind of a joke. You can just stand behind him and destroy him really easily, but we're getting into a little bit more of a challenging section of the run, which is this fire section here. So once the fire comes up, they're going to come over to an area I call the volcano, and the fireballs are going to come up randomly here, and they can easily kill you. So Anduin uses a bomb to avoid dying. You definitely don't want to lose your crush weapon here. Oh, Yumashev did it without a bomb. Very gutsy. So one of the cool things about playing on easy is that you can do some risky strats. So on the first boss, you can actually stand right up in his face, and if you've got 2 crush weapons, you can alternate between them to take him out, hopefully before he gets to do anything. he's got a kill just fine. So each crush weapon lets you shoot 3 missiles, and if you have one in each hand, you can alternate rapidly to do a ton of damage. It's really good. So we're now at stage 2. So here you need to take out each of the targets, or bunkers as we call them. The fastest way to do it is to start at the top left and kind of work your way down. Now, this is a really random stage. There's a lot of random enemies that can kind of get in the way and can slow you down a little bit. And looks like got through pretty decently. Fulgur's down a crush, but he should be able to make it through just fine, yeah. And that's stage 2. It's pretty fast if you speedrun it. Contra 3 is a super random game, and this sort of stage 3 is actually one of the few parts of Contra 3 that is not random, so it's kind of nice. So after this section here, coming up on, I guess what I'll call the mosquito section, these guys are trying to pick you up and drag you to the top of the screen. If they get you all the way up, they kill you, but it's pretty easy to take them out on easy before they get you. And then coming up here, we've got this little mid-boss. He dies pretty fast on easy, and there's another crush that Fulgur's going to pick up right here, so he'll be back up to full strength. And here is where we get to the auto-scroller. Probably my very least favorite part of Contra 3. So by staying up towards the top of the leg, you can pretty much just chill, move up while the screen does, and don't really have to worry about much of anything. It'll get a lot more interesting when you actually go to fight the next part of the boss. What you're going to try to do is get him to lunge at you and get a spray of crush. If you can do it right, you can take him out with one sort of attack pattern. And let's see how they do here. Yep, Fulgur had a good kill. And Anduin's getting some bad luck here. If the boss kind of fakes you out without attacking, that wastes a few seconds. So that's unfortunate there. This UFO guy isn't usually too much of a problem, and Fulgur takes him out without any issues. So coming up here, as you enter this room, there's going to be an opportunity to do what's called the platform skip. Let's see if anybody goes for it. Fulgur takes it safe, which is smart. Understandable. Cool. Alright, so these guys are really random, these two skeleton robots. They move really fast after you destroy the torso. Everyone gets through it just fine. Very nice. When you have two crush weapons, you can pretty much destroy this part of the boss before he actually gets to do anything, which is really nice, and everybody is at full strength, so it looks like nobody has any problems here. And we're pretty close to each other, moving into stage 4. Most of the time difference is because of the fake out on the driller boss, but yeah, this is really, really close. happen to be short on lives and you're playing this game, destroying these biker guys is a great way to earn extra lives. The next part of this is the acrobat, we like to call him. So it's a section where you've got this enemy that doesn't actually attack, but just kind of jumps around really rapidly. And he's got some smaller enemies that try to just drop on you. It doesn't sound like it would be that difficult, but it can get actually pretty tricky because he moves really erratically. As you can see. So Fulgor did it just fine there. And Yumashev got a pretty good pattern, so he took him out really quickly. Gained a little time there, and looks like Anduin also has a decent pattern, so they made up some ground there. Up next is the Walker. And yeah, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Alright, so here's where things get a little bit interesting. So on the stage 4 boss, you're going after the core, and it's basically the battleship itself, and what you're trying to do is take out the turrets, and then once you take out the turrets, you can attack the core. What happens is the missiles move at different speeds in each difficulty, so you can be extremely aggressive if you want. And Fulgor unfortunately lost his crush missiles, so he's going to do this low percent strats, which are a little tricky. And yeah, it is definitely some serious upper body strength, so like, yep, Yumashev keeps the crush. Fulgor is going to try to make do. It's definitely a huge disadvantage to not have the crush here, so try to make do. So Yumashev is definitely at a bit of an advantage now since he has both crushes. Stage 5 gives you an opportunity to pick up the laser weapon, which isn't as good as crush, but is still very strong. And Yumashev there, you can see that you can actually kind of squeeze through some of the corners in stage 5 as a little shortcut. Yeah, so the squeezing through the corners is actually pretty tight. So Anduin was just a little off, which is unfortunate. Alright, Anduin's gonna go for a little death skip there, and he got it. Oh, and he picked up a crush, that's really good luck. And Fulgor's going for the same thing. He didn't get a good weapon drop though. This boss doesn't have a ton of health in easy, so Fulgor should probably still be okay. So in stage 5, that's the end of the stage there. The laser is actually really good in stage 5. Looks like Anduin's finishing up here. Coming up is the Gauntlet, which is a really tough section. I say that as Yumashev takes a death. You can get some really rough to deal with spawns here. And here is the heart. Let's see how the other racers fare in the Gauntlet. Gauntlet can be extremely tricky. And yeah, it's common for a lot of people to use a bomb here just because of how many rough spawns you have to deal with. Alright, Yumashev is back up to full strength, taking out the gargoyle. So what Yumashev was trying to do is this gargoyle can actually be taken out before he teleports. So that's what Yumashev was going for. It doesn't quite make it, but still a decent kill. Fulgor got really close to the one cycle on the gargoyle. You can only do this in easy mode. Alright, so Yumashev is onto the brain. We're hoping for the red brain pattern, and Yumashev gets it, so you can still take this guy out in one cycle. Might not be able to because of the... See, it just took a death there, but he should be able to get it in the next cycle. And it looks like it's Yumashev's right here. And looks like Yumashev is going to take it. Let's see if Fulgor can take it out in one. Yep, Fulgor gets it. Very nice. Anduin is taking his time to make sure he gets the good brain pattern. If you're going yellow, then you would just shoot the orbs and just try to take them out immediately. But Anduin still gets it done. So yeah, very nice job to all the racers here. And that's gonna do it. So kudos to all the racers. This is definitely a hard game to run, and it's even more stressful doing it in a race where so many things can go wrong. Alright, so Yumashev takes first, 13-14. Fulgor not too far behind, and Anduin just a little bit further back, but still a very close race. Everyone was basically within 30 seconds of each other. For a run like Contra 3, that is quite the accomplishment.
Hello. My name is Big Fuzz. You probably know me from Contra 3 where I was blown up by those lunkheads with the big guns. I also appeared in Contra 4, where I crawled through a hallway before getting destroyed yet again. If you play Contra on your phone, you might have seen me get obliterated in Contra Returns as well. My point is, I fall apart a lot. But I never give up. I have to show up every time you show up. But doesn't it seem like this is the lesson with Contra as a whole? You have to keep fighting until you win. One day I would like to win. But as long as you hold a controller and keep fighting, I am just a big loser. Look. Today you will see me get absolutely crushed many times. You will probably chuckle to yourself and think that boss is so simple. But I am not simple. I am a Terminator. I mean, I am Big Fuzz. You probably know me from Contra 3 where I was completely decimated by those missile launching meat pies. I will see you again. And again. And again. And again. And again.
Like we are ready to start our normal race. And without further ado, let's get going. So racers, go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we are starting it off with normal. So if you're just joining us, this is Contra 3. And on normal mode, the bullets will move a little bit faster, enemies will have a little bit more health and some different attack patterns. And the weapons that we want to pick up are still the same. So the beginning of stage 1, you definitely want to have 2 spreads. So this is pretty much enough firepower to wipe out anything that gets in your way. So Tozzle there shows that you can actually crouch in front of that base wall and not get destroyed by the bombs. And both Tozzle and Gambini are going to go ahead and pick up the tank, so it makes quick work of that base wall. Tozzle picked up a death here, but that's totally fine because she can pick up the crush here. And there's a laser just before the tank boss, so no worries there. Alright, Tozzle picked up the barrier so she can get through, and yep, both of them are through. So both in pretty good shape here. After this fight, there's an opportunity to pick up the second crush, and that'll get everyone set up with double crush, which is the most powerful weapon combination in the game. By pressing X rapidly, you can switch back and forth between the crush guns, and it deals a ton of damage. One trick here is you can see Tozzle's kind of buffering a jump. You want to be far enough to the right of the screen that you can jump over those fire pillars without having to wait for them. And both Tozzle and Gambini hit that just fine. So we're going to be coming up on the stage 1 boss in a second here. Gambini makes it. So on normal mode, the boss has a bit less health than hard, and so you can actually just stand right in front of it and destroy it. There is a slight risk you might die, but hopefully they don't. Of course, as I say that, commentators curse. So when the boss bounces like that, it doesn't take as much damage. It moves out of the range of the explosions of Crush. So it's unfortunate, but she has some opportunities to pick up some other weapons here in stage 2. So start on the top left. You actually move a little bit faster if you're kind of strafing, going a diagonal, kind of like a GoldenEye in the N64. And Tozzle is smart. Everyone always forgets that you can duck on this stage to get under the bullets. So Tozzle's going to be looking for another good weapon here. Let's see what she gets. Bomb. That's unfortunate. So as you saw, if you turn around, you can actually get on the side of the boss and immediately shoot the core, but the programmers of the game were a little sinister. So if you're too close to one side, it will spin the other way to try to kill you for, abusing that exploit. So Tozzle unfortunately gets hit there, but spread is actually pretty good for the beginning part of the stage, and there's an opportunity to pick up another crush. But yeah, this game definitely gets a lot harder if you don't have double crush. Gambini has a good kill on that spinning part of the mid-boss. Don't tell anyone, but Spread's actually a little bit better against this guy than Crush. So there's another Crush here that Tozzle's going to pick up, so she'll be decently well equipped to come in for the rest of the stage. This is the annoying auto-scroller, so I don't have a ton to say here. But coming up is where the boss is going to pull the drawers out, so to speak, and try to ram into the player. What you're looking for is you're wanting the boss to kind of lunge at you, see if you can destroy him quickly. What you don't want the boss to do is to just kind of fake and retreat, because that wastes a lot of time. So we'll see what kind of patterns they get here. Yeah, there's the fake, so Gambini got one fake there. Let's see what happens for Tozzle. Tozzle got a decent pattern. She was down a crush, so couldn't quite get the one cycle, but still very, very strong. Also with a nice stutter step so she doesn't jump into that stray bullet. Nicely done. So for Tozzle, there is another crush as you come into this section of the room, and she'll be back up to full strength once she gets that. Yep, and there it is. Decent climb. So these two skeletons are actually a lot more scary than the main boss. If you destroy the torso, they move really rapidly. If you have double crush for the boss, taking it out, it's pretty easy. So Tozzle being smart, if you're at the top of the ceiling, then they can't hit you at all. Alright. So Tozzle takes out the boss without too much trouble here. And we are on to stage 4. there's not too much to say about this section here. Some of the more interesting things that are going to be coming up soon are going to be the acrobat and the walker. So the acrobat doesn't actually have any attacks. It just moves around really erratically, and it has a bunch of comrades that attempt to kill you by just falling on you. It's a really unusual design, but the acrobat moves around really fast and is hard to take out quickly if you don't get a good pattern. So you can kind of see how it is jumping around Gambini's shots. Gambini does make it through without dying, which is really key. Let's see what kind of a pattern Tozzle gets here. Yeah, it's a really rough pattern. Yeah, changing directions multiple times, and it's totally random where the guys will spawn from and drop on you. So, yeah, really rough pattern there for Tozzle. She's picking up a laser, which is actually still very good for the next part of the stage. After Tozzle finishes the walker, there's a 50% chance that she will get another crush, so she'll be back up to full strength with that. Let's see if she gets it. Got it. Nice. Alright, so Gambini's coming up on the missile section. So this section, the missiles move at different speeds on each difficulty, so you can be extremely aggressive on normal and easy. Let's see if Gambini can get it. Gambini takes out without too much trouble. So Gambini takes a death there. Alright. That's still fine though. One thing that Gambini did is really nice is it's easy to die twice because of the way that the game respawns you, and so Gambini was smart and switched away his other weapon so he wasn't going to lose another crush, so it was very nicely done. So Gambini's definitely got a lead, but he's down a crush, so if he gets lucky, he can pick up another one, whereas Tozzle's got both crush, so we'll see how she does. Looks like, so Gambini's going to take a little death here, and this skips the kind of the windy part in the top left there. Let's see what he gets. Gets a bomb, which is not ideal. Tozzle may or may not go for, oh, I should probably go for it now though. Nicely done. Looks at the spread. Not what she's looking for. It's rough timing on the boss. Does pick up a crush though, which is nice. So Gambini is coming up on a section that we call the Gauntlet. And this is a part of Stage 6 where there's a lot of random spawns. And I think Gambini may have held on to spread for better coverage, which is not a bad play at all. Unfortunately, he loses a crush. We'll have an opportunity to pick up one more. Tozzle makes it through. Let's see if she can get... Yeah, Tozzle's making sure to stop and pick up that crush before she goes after the gauntlet. That homing pickup is the worst. But she still got a crush. Yeah, the gauntlet is a very brutal section. So Gambini is in the lead, but his weapon situation is definitely a challenge. Gambini is going to come into what we'll call the gargoyle with Crush and Laser, which is decently strong, but still going to be a challenge for sure. Oh, that was a wonderful dodge by Tozzle. Very nicely done. Alright, so Gambini is onto the Queen section. And Tozzle is done with the gargoyle. Nicely done. Gambini has moved on to the orbs. They are decently close. So the critical thing is going to be if Gambini is able to take out the brain in 3 cycles. I'm not sure if that can be done with laser on normal, but I guess we will find out. Oh. Also with a nice orb selection here. This is going to be a real big opportunity for Tozzle to make up some ground, so she has Double Crush, which is going to be a huge asset for the brain fight, and if she gets the orbs right, she can take this out in fewer cycles. It's going to be close, though, I can tell you. Let's see if Tozzle can get. Oh, nicely done. Tozzle with a beautiful orb fight. Beautiful orb selection there. Doesn't quite make the... Oh, wow. That was very close. Tozzle just barely misses the 3 cycle. Oh, that was so close. Wow. Very nice job to both racers. Very nicely done.
Thanks so much for attending Contra 3's 30th birthday party. We're thrilled that Speed Gaming has given us a full 24-hour block. An entire day of Contra, can you believe it?
Actually.
Well, it seems there's been some sort of mistake. We do not have 24 hours. We have 2 hours. I guess we will just have to have another event tomorrow. Operation C, a phenomenal Game Boy Contra game, will be featured in a showdown between some of the community's top runners. We'd love for you to join us at twitch.tv/Contra Races, 3 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
All right, so we are ready for race number 2. So the format of this is we use the best time of the 2 races, so whichever player has the lowest time among the 2 is the one that's going to take it. So we definitely had a close race 1, and let's see what race 2 will bring. So racers, if you are ready, start the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we are back in stage 1. So as I mentioned last time, the goal is to pick up spread, have a spread on each hand. Switching rapidly between them pretty much gives you the coverage that you need to take this stage out without any problems. The spawns are random though, and as you saw, Tazzle had a beautiful dodge standing in between the dog and the enemy, so she manages to keep full spread, which is great. Alright, coming into the tank. Yeah, so Gambini had a little bit of a rough spot there, so you can stand in front of the base wall and if you duck, you will be protected from the bombs that are hitting you, but if there's an enemy walking up behind you, you're still going to get hit, unfortunately. But that's alright. Gambini's able to pick up a crush, and so he's back at full strength for this section. Alright, so we're coming up here on a section that we lovingly call the volcano. So the fireballs here can spew out in all different directions. So Tazzle using a bomb here so she doesn't lose her second crush. Let's see what Gambini's gonna do. Gambini also using the bomb. That's a smart play here. Alright, so coming up on the stage 1 boss. So again, in normal, if you have double crush, you can switch between them and take out this boss before it gets much of a chance to do anything. There's a small chance, though, that it could kill you. So we'll see what happens. Tazzle got unlucky here first run, but she gets it through the second time. Oh, looks like they flip-flop. So like I said, there's a small chance you could die. So Tozzle died in the first race, Gambini died there in the second, so it's unfortunate. Tozzle gonna go ahead and barrel through this stage with Double Crush. With a beautiful duck there. Ooh, and a close scrape. So in these stages, walking in a diagonal fashion is faster than walking straight. So that's kind of why you see the move at this angle. And let's see, so if you spin around, do a 180, you can immediately just attack the core of this boss. And Gambini's down a weapon, so he's gonna have to try to adjust. And he does. So you have to do sort of a little tango on this boss. Alright, this part of stage 3 is pretty straightforward. So Gambini is going to have an opportunity to pick up a laser, which is more powerful than fire, and he'll use that for the next section. And then after this little mid-boss here with the spinning pole, Gambini's going to have an opportunity to pick up another crush to be back at full strength. Meanwhile, Tozzle is doing just fine. Alright, once again we are coming up on my least favorite section of Contra 3, the auto-scroller. So Gambini picks up the crush, so he's back at full strength. We'll see what kind of pattern these guys get. Nicely done by Tozzle. Alright, Gambini's through. Got a decent pattern. Very nice. Yeah, the UFO boss doesn't have too much health, so if you've got double crush, it's pretty straightforward. We're on to the two skeleton robots. Tozzle makes it through no problem. If you've got double crush, you can just quickly alternate between them, and this boss can be taken up pretty easily without too much trouble. Tozzle makes it through just fine. Tozzle's coming up on the tank fight. This fight is normally pretty straightforward, but sometimes the little jetpack guys can get a little low and make you a little nervous. Alright, we are coming up on the Acrobat here for Tozzle. Like I saw in the last run, the Acrobat moves super randomly, so we'll see if Tozzle can get a better pattern here. She's got a bomb in reserve, so she may decide just to use that. Let's see. No bomb. And she makes it through just fine. Nicely done. Let's see Gambini. Gambini getting a rough pattern, but he doesn't die, which is really good. Tozzle takes out the walker without too much of a problem. Although on a very strong pace. Alright, so let's see how she does against the stage 4 boss. Nicely done. Oh, she went yellow. Very nice. So the missiles move a little slower on normal, and so that gives you an opportunity to really be aggressive. And I think Tozzle's planning to do the little death skip in stage 5, so that death was intentional. So very good boss fight. Gambini may choose to keep his crush. Yeah, oh, alright. Guess he's planning on that too. Alright, Tozzle gets a nice corner skip in the beginning of stage 5 here. And she's looking for a good weapon. Let's see what she gets. Another crush. Oh, that is very good luck. So that should mean she takes out the stage 5 boss without any big trouble. Losing the crush there isn't too big of a deal. She can pick up spread at the beginning of stage 6, and she can use that. And then there's another crush right away after that, so not a big deal at all. And Gambini coming up on the skip here. Homing is not what he was looking for. Fortunately, let's see. Yeah, Tozzle stopping to pick up the crush, and doesn't get the homing this time, which is very good. Oh, she caught that ledge. That's really good. If she hadn't, she would have gotten hit for sure. And a nice kill there. Very nicely done by Tozzle. And with double crush, he takes out the heart without any problems. Tozzle is on a very solid pace. Nice dodging, and she's onto the gargoyle. So Tozzle got an unlucky reach there, and was probably just a pixel away, so she lost crush, which is unfortunate. She's still on a really good pace. But Gambini's going to try to gain some ground here. Just shy of missing a Cyclone Gargoyle, but that's okay. So Tozzle has a few options. She can go for the spike brain pattern, if she gets that, that's an opportunity for get another crush. Or it looks like what she's doing is she's gonna use the Grayor pattern, and this pattern is longer and lets you do a little bit more damage. But gives her a chance to hopefully go for a 4 cycle. So yeah, it looks like that's what she's doing. So Gambini's better equipped. It looks like if he wants to catch up, he's probably gonna need a good 3 cycle. One thing's for sure though, this is going to be tight. A very close race this is going to be. Ooh. Uh-oh. Basil had that one unfortunate death at the queen fight, but other than that, a very solid showing, I have to say. And yeah, almost sub 14 in a race is insane. That is very, very nice. Oh man, wow.
I was speedrunning Contra late one night to beat the Red Falcon in a fight. I grabbed the S and R power-up prize, and suddenly, to my surprise,
You did the mash,
I did the Contra mash.
the Contra mash.
My PB I did smash.
You did the mash,
Made boss fights a flash.
you did the mash.
I did the Contra mash.
Whoa.
All right, we are here for Contra 3 hard mode. This is going to be the same format as normal, so whoever posts the best time in the 2 races is going to take it. And hard is a very brutal category, so let's go ahead and jump on in. Racers, when you are ready, I'm going to count down. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we are off to the races here. So hard mode of Contra 3 is very tricky because enemies have a lot more health, more attack patterns, and it's going to be a lot more critical to keep Crush in both of your arms in this one because you're going to be losing quite a bit of time if you are down a Crush. So it's going to be rough. So already you can kind of see what happens if some little thing can go even just slightly wrong. So in hard mode, enemies have a lot more health, and one of the tricky things that can happen in this mode is that the dogs that chase behind you have a lot more health. So as you kind of stop to deal with them, a red soldier can just kind of pop up to the right side of the screen and just shoot you. So very, very tricky. Another thing in hard mode is you actually do have to pick up the barrier to make it through these flame sections without stopping. Otherwise, you will die. So right away, things are off to an interesting start. So everyone gets through okay. Giacchio just a bit behind, but he will have some time to make it up because we are still very early into the race. So again, you want to be to the right side of the screen. So the game only scrolls as you... The game doesn't scroll faster than you walk, and so by being further to the right side of the screen, you can jump over these fire pillars that you're seeing them get past you without having to wait for them. If you're too far to the left side of the screen, you actually do have to stop. Alright, so coming up on the boss here. Now, while it is technically possible to kill this boss by standing right in front of his face, the odds of doing it are so small that the racers here are going to be standing further away. Now, the thing is, with how close Walt Dog is, if the head reaches, it can kill you instantly. So, some of the racers being a little bit safe, standing a little bit further away. Yeah, Dog is through. Alright, so this stage is very interesting in hard mode. So there's different patterns that the turrets take. There's 4 races going on at the same time, so I can't really commentate on what all is happening, but it's pretty tricky. Unfortunately, Walt Dog takes a death there with a stray bullet. Let's see how everyone else is doing. Drifter making it through. So Walt Dog is down a Crush, so he used a bomb to make the tango part a little bit easier. But yeah, it is still pretty tricky. So by flipping a 180, you can immediately just shoot the boss's core, but he tries to counteract it by spinning into you. And this is still very close. Drifter is in front, but folks aren't too far off. Looks like Walt Dog missed time to jump slightly, and he pays for it, but he'll get an opportunity to pick up some more weapons. There's a laser right there, so he'll still be in a pretty decent shape. Giacchio back up to full strength, and Bruno not too far behind. So this guy's actually bad news in hard mode. He's got a lot more health, and he's tricky to kill very quickly. So Drifter slightly mistimed his jump down, but he mops it up without too much trouble, and he'll be able to get his Crush back. This is a surprisingly close race. Like, yeah, this is something, alright. So coming up on my least favorite auto-scroll section. Nothing much you can do here, just kind of wait at the top of each leg. So, in hard mode, this guy's patterns are extremely aggressive. So he will just lunge at you, and in hard mode he can actually bounce against the wall multiple times trying to kill you, so you really have to pay attention to where he's at and what he's doing. Ideally you want to take him out in 2 reaches. What you don't want him to do is you don't want him to fake you out. So let's see what kind of patterns everyone gets here. Drifter got a pretty good pattern. Maltdock got fake. So one thing I didn't mention in the previous runs is when you're climbing up walls, you can press up and B to just jump while you're hanging from a wall, and you can use that to jump up walls really quickly. It's nice, but the tricky thing is that in hard mode, when you're jumping like that, it gives the snipers on that left wall a better chance to aim at you. And it makes dodging the bullets at the top of that climb a little tricky. Alright, now we've got some... Let's see here. Oh, Drifter got the ledge skip on the spinning pole. Let's see if anyone else goes for it. Yeah, Cherno got it too. It's Waltdog just barely missed it. It's a 3 pixel window, but it's pretty tricky. Okay. Yeah, Drifter taking it a little safe on those. I can't blame him. Losing Crush here is going to jeopardize your ability to get the boss. Take the boss out quickly. So, oh, that's really unfortunate for Waltdog. It was just a little bit of ways away, so Waltdog's gonna have to improvise a little on this fight, so yeah, be sure to watch him. Let's see how he does. If you have 2 crushes, the fight is kind of free, but if you're down a crush, then it gets very challenging. So let's see how well he can improv. Oh, he still gets it in 1. Nice. Yeah, that is not easy to do if you're down a crush. Most people don't really practice it because why would you? You would just reset, but we don't have that luxury here. So Waltdog still gets it before the skull retreats in and comes back. Otherwise, you'd have to wait for some bombs to blow up, and that would probably waste about 10 seconds, I think. The tank here is tricky on hard. It should be pretty free, but if you get some bad luck with these jetpack guys, they can be a real nuisance. Starting with hard mode, you don't have the ability to destroy these lasers before you get off the screen. Not that they're that hard to dodge. Drifter coming up on the Acrobat, which is a real pain in hard mode. He might use a bomb, or no, he's just going to go for it, and wow. Yeah, so Drifter basically used the standard any percent strat on the Acrobat and took him out really quickly, and he got a good pattern, so yeah, I would be happy with that if I was doing if I was going for PB pace. That was a very, very good fight. Let's see how it goes for Waltdog. Waltdog makes it through without too much trouble. Alright. Cherno and Drifter are pretty close. So this is very tricky. So on hard mode, the boss has a lot more health, and the missiles move pretty fast. So while you can do a little ledge skip in stage 5, generally you want to have both crushes here, but the timing on this is really tricky to do. It's one of the hardest boss fights in the game. doing this on hard mode. So Drifter makes it through without too much trouble. Looks like he's gonna clean it up. Cherno's through too. These guys are really close. It's hard for me to follow what's happening on all the screens, but good stuff all around. So the bombs don't do a ton of damage, but with this particular fight, because there's two turrets and they don't have a ton of health, the bombs actually do make quite a bit of difference. And Drifter starting in the top left. So what you can do here is by starting at the top left, you have some invincibility frames, and you can use that to get through the narrow section quickly. Whereas Cherno starting on the right side. Drifter gets through. Cherno's not too far behind. So Cherno is in a bit of a rough spot now because he's lost his crush. Let's see what he gets. Yeah, so this boss has so much health on hard mode that you really do need double crush. If you're down with some of the other weapons, it's a real struggle. Jockey using crush laser. Laser's actually very good on this boss. Spread is a bit weaker, unfortunately. Part of it is because if you're far away, Spread doesn't do as good of a damage. Drifter's coming up on the Gauntlet, and the Gauntlet is very tricky, especially on hard mode. So Drifter kind of wants to be a little bit to the right of the screen. That's going to make killing the heart easier, but you don't want to be too far to the side. Yeah, you got hit by a spawn. It's harder to react to things like that. So Drifter can pick up a Spread here and do Crush Spread to get through that, but it's still pretty rough. He makes it through. Let's see Jockey's. Oh, Jockey just got under. Jockey's still doing pretty good though. So Jockey is a little bit further to the right on the heart. They make it a little. Drifter took a death there, but he can pick up his crush right back, and they are pretty close. And yeah, you can see it's really hard. Once one thing goes wrong with the Gauntlet, the game just kind of swarms you. The cotton balls get in your way, and enemies can just swarm you on all sides. So Cherno having a little bit of a rough time there, which is totally understandable. Alright, so we are coming up on Drifter coming up on the orb fight. So in hard mode, the ideal way to do this fight is to have you have 4 kind of cycles. The boss has a ton of health, and each time the boss goes through an attack pattern, his health gets cut in half. And Drifter got the Snake Orb, which is the absolute worst orb you never want to get, and he dies for it. It's not only hard to dodge, but it's really slow. So what Drifter can do is he can go for the Spike Orb, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to get a crush back, because he needs to have 2 crush for this fight if he can get it, and he does. Let's see if he can hang on to it. So he's got double crush, but he's a cycle or 2 slow, and meanwhile Jockio and Waltark are going to use that as a chance to catch up. This is going to be a very close race. Oh man, that's rough. Snake Orb is one of those things where you don't really practice it as much, because if you usually get the Snake Orb, you just reset. But yeah, this is going to be pretty tight. Chucky was pulling in front. The one thing to be mindful of, though, is that this isn't the end, because there's one more thing that happens in hard mode, and that's that the brain armors up and comes after you. He usually dies pretty quick, but if he reaches for you quickly, it can cause some problems. There's also, yeah, those problems, so Chucky got really bad luck there. The other thing is he may take a while to explode and leave the screen. Contra 3 timing is when you lose control of characters, so there's more than one way to lose time to this boss, unfortunately, but this is still going to be really tight. Super close race. For hard mode, this is very, very close, mind you. Very close. Very nice showing by everybody. Trino did an amazing job dodging right there. So the armor brain, each one of the little segments that make up its arm has a hitbox. So it is very hard to dodge when it reaches over your head.
It's Red Falcon's roast of Bill and Lance. Thanks for being such good sports, guys. You'll regret this. We always end up winning. Now let's meet our roasters. We've got Old Joe. Been in the game a while, but I'm still hotter than these losers. Please welcome Grinnin' Gary. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Oh my god. And Big Fuzz.
Wow, seeing them tied up there makes them look like those turkeys some people make. You know what I'm talking about, when they tie them up? Should be easy to roast them, they're just stupid turkeys.
How come y'all gotta flip every time you jump? You only need to go forward a foot and you turn into a yo-yo every time. No wonder you're dying every 30 seconds. You're probably blacking out. So sometimes you jump directly on top of us. You know that kills you, right? Who do you think you are, Mario? Hello, Mario. Hello, Mario.
I do the exact same pattern every time, and yet it still works after 30 years. Have you ever done something for 30 years besides suck?
Roast him.
All right, we are ready for the next race. So, give my countdown in just a minute here. All right, let's do this. So go ahead and start it up in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, yeah, so like I said in the last run, stage 1 is brutal on hard mode. You definitely need the firepower from quickly switching between the spread guns to be able to give you the coverage that you need. The name of the game here is to not get killed suddenly. Yeah, Jockio demonstrating that, yes, you can stand to the right side of the wall and not die. If you, for the second base wall, if you're far enough to the right side of the screen, the sniper can't hit you, but if you stutter just a little bit, he can. So it's a little tricky. We were a little bit off on the start times, but all the races are pretty close and we're pretty much in the same area, so it worked out. So Jackie was just a little too far to the left on the tank there. As soon as the tank, it kind of like pulls forward, and then as soon as it stops pulling forward, its hitbox immediately comes out. In Contra 3, you generally want to be as close as possible to enemies to do the most damage, but unfortunately, if you're too close, you die. Drifter got hit by a stray fireball, which is unfortunate. So he's going to try to pick up. Oh, he could get spread here. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Meanwhile, Cherno going to pull ahead. Walthog and Drifter are gonna definitely be in a bit of a rough spot, being down a crush. And looks like the head reach picked off Cherno, which is actually really bad luck. It's not very likely that the head reaches, so the fact that it happened to him is really bad luck for a race. And this is coming up pretty close here. One of the hard things is that you generally practice having 2 crushes, but in these race situations it's a little tricky. So if you have a crush in your right hand, you can just start on the top left, hold back, and shoot. If you pay close attention when you switch weapons between your left and right hand, only in the top few stages it actually kind of changes where you fire from. So you have to sort of be aware of that and the subtleties as you're navigating these stages. And Shakio has a pretty good stage 2. Waltdog's had a bit of a rough spot there. We're still pretty close. Let's see if Waltdog can manage. So Waltdog lost his other crush. Let's see, he's got a few options here. Alright, so Waltdog picks up a laser, so definitely better than the pea shooter. But yeah, if you don't kill boss, the stage 2 boss as he lands, you're in for a really rough time. So Cherno up front a little bit and gets through that boss okay, and he's gonna pick up his other crush, so that's great. Drifter also through that section. And we're still pretty close here. Laser is not quite as powerful as Crush. It still hits pretty hard. And Waltdog uses it to take out that boss without too much trouble. Spread does a little damage. A little more damage than laser when it's up close, so that's why Waltdog switching over double laser is kind of amazing though. Cherno gets a good pattern on the driller there. Alright, let's see who goes for platform skip this time. Cherno gets it. Drifter gets it. Waltdog's having a bit of a rough go, but he'll have a chance to pick up a crush as he enters the factory room. If you have double crush, even on hard mode, this boss is pretty free, fortunately. Alright, we're on to stage 4. That's a rough break for Walt Dog. Alright, Cherno is coming up on the Acrobat. Let's see what kind of a pattern he gets. So initially the Acrobat was moving pretty slow, but then he took a sudden jump there, but Cherno was able to clean up okay. Drifter just using a bomb, saying, I'm having none of that. And honestly, it's not a bad play. Walt Dog kind of showing just how brutal this game is when you don't have Double Crush on hard mode. It's quite challenging. Cherno's coming in on the stage 4 boss fight. So one of the interesting things about the stage 4 boss fight is in phase 2, after you blow off the turrets, the boss is attempting to destroy the missiles that you're on. The missiles destroy themselves if they ram into the boss, but the boss also shoots these little fire projectiles. They don't hurt you, but they do blow up the missiles. You can actually destroy those fire projectiles before they blow up a missile. They have a fair bit of health, but it is possible, so that's what Cherno was going for. And here Cherno is barreling through stage 5. Drifter starting in the top left again. Yep, using those iframes to get through that section. And Cherno is down to Crush again. Let's see if he gets it back here. That is definitely not what he wanted. Jocko got a bomb, also not what he was looking for. So Drifter is just going to go ahead and hang on to Double Crush, and that's going to make the boss a lot easier. The unfortunate thing about the boss fight is, oh, that was a nice duck by Drifter. That arm that reaches out has a ton of health and causes a lot of lag. It's like a Jocko gets through in pretty good time though. And Cherno's through, but he's definitely not in a good situation with his weapons. So Jocko's going to pick up a spread and then Crush right after, and Drifter's coming up on the gauntlet. Or Jocko on the gauntlet. Let's see. So on the gauntlet, those last two mouse, you want to take those mouse out. Because the cotton balls that they spawn will follow you and they can mess with you while you're doing the heart fight. Looks like Drifter and Jocko both get through unscathed. Looks like Cherno missed the Crush, so that's unfortunate. Jocko takes a death there. The boss is really random with that mutant crawler boss is really random with how the debris cotton balls fall on you. You can stand on his body safely, but when you die, he actually bounces up a little bit, and it prevents you from ducking and pushes you in. So it's a rough way to lose a little time. They're both on the Grifter and Jockey are pretty much synced up on the Queen now. So the Queen, you want there's two heads that reach out. They can either try to both reach out together and corner you, or one can reach all the way over to you. You destroy the left one immediately, and then you kind of want the right one to just reach only halfway. Both of them did just fine there. So the optimal way to do the brain fight is that you have 3 red patterns and then a gray pattern. Drifter using the bombs, it's a lit. Oh, Junkie got a blue orb pattern. So this is a long pattern and it is very hard to dodge. Let's see if you can. He did it. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Now, as is the case with a lot of things in Contra 3, sometimes being lucky is better than being good. So even though Jaku did an amazing job dodging the blue orbs, he lost a little bit of time. So let's see if he can make it up. He's still just trying to get the 1 cycle is what he's looking for. I think if he gets 2 gray, he might be able to salvage it, but it's going to be tight. Oh, wow. This is going to be down to the wire. Insane. Wow, so clutch. Very nicely done. Very nice job there. Drifter and Chakyo. Turno is coming up on the armor brain here. Takes it out without too much trouble. Alright, well, a lot easier to commentate one person than one stream than 4 streams. So let's go ahead and take a look at Walt Dog. So as I mentioned earlier, spread's actually pretty good for this part, and then Walt Dog is going to go ahead and pick up the Crush, and he's going to move on to the Gauntlet. So as you can see, enemies are just kind of coming in on all sides. If you die, they get a chance to swarm you. They can jump up high like they did, so it's really tricky because you're trying to take out those last 2 mouths because you can't let them stay alive, otherwise the projectiles are going to follow you. But you've also got to kind of cover your front. So splitting your fire 2 ways is kind of how it's so easy to die in the Gauntlet section. And here is this crawler dude. So yeah, like I said, you notice how like he kind of bounced up after he died. That is an easy way to die to this boss. So coming up on the gargoyle here, so phase 2 is when he teleports, and so Walt Dog took him out with a short phase 2 with no bombs, which is actually kind of amazing. That is really hard to do. So on the Queen here, the ideal is that the one on the right only reaches to the middle and then goes back, because if he reaches all the way, he blocks you from shooting the core on the top. and we're coming up on the brain fight. So the brain has 32,000 health, which is an insane number. And every time you shoot a brain and he goes to an attack pattern, the health gets cut in half. So you can do between 2,000-ish to 3,000-ish damage each run. So on the Grey Orb here, you can do around 3,000. And the goal is to take out the brain in 4 cycles is the optimal kill. So the reason why you don't die here is because the Contra character actually has a very tiny hitbox. When he ducks, it's basically just his elbows. And so these orbs that are coming out, the only part of them that damages you is just like a little rectangle in the center. So between that little rectangle and the center and the tiny size of the player hitbox, you don't die. Now, another kind of sucky thing is that each of these brain orb patterns is a little different. So 2 gray orb patterns can behave a little bit differently. So there's what I call like a short pattern and a long pattern. They vary about a second in difference. So what happens is on the gray orb, if you get a short pattern, the gray orb like falls down on you immediately, and so that's what happened to Walt Dog. If you get a long pattern, the gray orb doesn't come down for another second. So that's kind of why it like immediately came out and killed him, which, you know, kind of sucked. It's unfortunate. This guy here, he is on a global timer, and what will happen is he'll reach after you 14 times. I think it's like every 10 seconds or so. You don't want him to reach, obviously. And then the other thing that is really rough about him is that you don't lose control of your character. The transition to like exit this vertical tunnel doesn't start until he goes to the bottom of the screen, so he can waste some extra time. So that's really unfortunate for Walt Dog. That's just kind of a long stream of bad luck, but major shoutouts to Walt Dog for finishing it and playing it through. Gave me a chance to talk about some more things that I wanted to, and yeah, really, really great job on all the players being able to kind of adapt to the unexpected things that happen and still pull through is really, really nice. So major shoutouts to everybody and strong showing all around. All right, just before we wrap things up here, so huge shout outs to Jacchio for taking it, but strong performances all around. Before we cut though, I do want to give a major shout out to Fiesel for basically giving us the time here to make this happen. Contra, all the Contra games are amazing. They're amazing to play, they're amazing to speedrun. Come out to join us on the Contra Discord if you'd like to learn more about the run. If you have any questions about anything, we're always happy to help. And yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. Great job to all of the racers. And thanks again to Fiesel. And I think that's all I got.
Thanks so much for attending Contra 3's 30th birthday party. We're thrilled that Speed Gaming has given us a full 24-hour block. An entire day of Contra, can you believe it?
Actually.
Well, it seems there's been some sort of mistake. We do not have 24 hours. We have 2 hours. I guess we will just have to have another event tomorrow. Operation C, a phenomenal Game Boy Contra game, will be featured in a showdown between some of the community's top runners. We'd love for you to join us at twitch.tv/Contra Races, 3 p.m. Eastern. See you there.